Coming to you live from the bunker, which once held Stalin's remains for 10 days in 1954, it's me, Ivan. Over there,
Julian. What's up, guys?
We're bringing you the Hungover podcast, the first of the year, for our second year in existence, but still within our first year of existence, second year. Anyway, it's 2018 our New Year review.
2018, we made it. Big time. We finally made it. Of course, we're recording this on the 30th of December, but we're going to be talking about what
Y2K could still happen.
Yes, Y2K still technically can indeed happen. And we're going to be talking about what we think of the past year in video gaming of 2017. Of course, Ivan just got a PC, so he's sort of just taken his first steps. Well, he's had a PC in the past, but his first steps into PC gaming of 2017 anyways. And we're going to be taking a look at some predictions that we have of what's going to be going on in 2018 for gaming. So hold on to your butts. That's what he says, right? That guy in that character in that movie.
Sam Jackson, right?
Yeah, I know. Jurassic Park. Anyways, and so you can check this podcast out every week on Monday. In fact, on iTunes, SoundCloud, and in video form on YouTube. And we'd love if you gave us some feedback on how we're doing and wrote us an iTunes review. That would be really helpful with our visibility on the internet. Ivan,
Yo.
We start our podcast out every single week by asking each other, what media have you been consuming? And what did you drink last night?
Well,
this is
let's
the Hungover
just say
podcast.
that it's been a while since we did one of these.
I know. It's sad. It makes me sad. It saddens me.
We should meet more often.
Yeah.
I like this. But what that does allow is a lot of media consumption by me.
Yeah. I did quite a few things. Don't worry. So we can talk.
So I watched Coco.
Okay. Who's in that movie? Who directed it? It's not a movie.
Coco is a movie.
It's a YouTube video.
It's
a
Pixar movie.
Okay.
And it's pretty cute. It's pretty awesome. I felt connected through San Antonio to a lot of the themes because it's a Latin family-based movie where it's a Dia de los Muertos movie. You investigate what it means to be a family person in a Mexican family, so there's that, and it has a lot of cool, good music.
Okay.
I think it's one of the best looking Pixar films ever made.
That's pretty cool.
Pointed out properly was the textures are really great. It just feels really not natural, but it feels more tangible than a lot of old school stuff. So it feels real in a way.
When did it come out? Sorry, I haven't even heard of this movie.
I think it came out in November.
Really? Okay, that would probably be why.
It's one of the big Pixar films. So the other animated movie that's competing against it, I guess there's Star, if you want a Christian animated movie.
That's just what I want when I think of an animated movie. Christians.
It's about animals going to the baby Jesus.
Okay.
And there's Ferdinand, which stars John Cena as a bull.
Right, I heard of that one. I definitely heard of that one. That one's very popular, if I'm not mistaken.
I preferred to go see Coco. I kind of refused to go see Ferdinand.
Well, I mean, if Pixar's making it, I'm behind it. I love that company. So, except for Cars 1, Cars 2, Cars 1 was all right. Lightning McQueen.
Cars 2 and basically any of the Planes movies. I'm out.
Yeah, okay. They went down the wrong road with that one. But yeah, that's cool. So you recommend seeing that? Did you do anything else? Or
Coco was good. I also watched Get Out for a second time, and I have to say the second viewing of Get Out was much better than my first one. The first viewing I thought left a lot to be desired, and I was kind of a little disappointed with it. I still thought it was a great movie.
Okay.
But there was some things that I felt weren't super developed. But the second viewing, with all the pressure of the movie being off, there's not the same expectations. It was actually a much more enjoyable movie to watch.
That's awesome.
And of course, I saw The Last Jedi.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you did. And I did not. So I swear to God, if you fucking spoil a goddamn thing, this channel's over. It's over. I would never end this channel over a spoiler. I mean, I care, but it's not going to ruin the channel.
If you cared, you would have gone to see it.
It's true. But I couldn't find a viewing at the Alamo Draft House, and I just didn't want to take a chance, all right, Ivan? I wanted to assure myself a good seat. I didn't want to take a chance.
I took a chance, and I watched it in IMAX 3D at
3D,
a midnight showing on a Sunday to ensure there were no children.
You got the children out of the way, so that's good.
And there would be as few people in the audience as possible.
Nice. How did that go?
I saw in an IMAX theater with about 9-10 people.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I heard it was doing very well in the box office. What were your first impressions? Of course, once I see it, we'll do a spoiler cast. But that'll be probably next year. So, at this rate, what are your first impressions of it?
So first thoughts were that it was not as good as I hoped it would be, but it's still much better than it should be. For a movie to basically
for an 8th installment in a movie series. It's
9th, in fact, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's the 9th. No, it's the 8th one. The 9th one comes out whenever.
Oh, the 8th one. So, essentially, to be a film that has so many masters that it must, appeal to.
Yeah.
So, Disney executives, the hardcore fans, the fans that are just entering, to young kids, it was a really pretty decent way of doing it. I think, for the most part, it was successful in being a movie that everyone could find something that they liked. Was it the movie that I thought it should have been? No. Did it make sense in terms of a military scheme? No. But you had to have some sort of something.
Right.
I can't wait to get into a spoiler cast with you about it, because I've got a lot of questions, and I'm disappointed that you haven't seen it yet.
It's 2018 is a year of change, all right, Ivan? I'm going to see more movies. I'm going to do more things.
And I'm going to get more videos out on time. That's my promise for 2018.
Well, that is yet to be seen, sir. I'm kidding.
Just like you in The Last Jedi, it's yet to be seen.
Exactly.
And since it's the holidays, I had a lot of different things. I can't recount how many different kinds of wine or beer.
Does anything stand out to you?
Yes, a
Anything
few things
good?
stand out to me. Probably the main one is I was reintroduced to the Kir Royale.
Okay.
Which is cassis, creme de cassis,
wow.
which is a blackcurrant liqueur put into champagne.
Ooh.
So it can
That
turn a
sounds good.
brute from something that's like acidic and tough
And dry.
tough for my
Acid reflux.
into something that's a little bit easier to palate, because the
awesome.
sweetness really pulls it together. And as always, eggnog with any kind of rum or whiskey. I also went to a super pretentious cocktail bar in Buffalo when I was there, and I had discovered that the American palate is so sweet.
Oh,
and I want to get into it about it. And I think that it has a lot to do with the fact that processed food increased the sugar. Fast food industry also increased the sugar in our palate, and every single cocktail is sugar based, and it's almost impossible to get a cocktail that isn't like sickeningly sweet.
Yeah. Oh, don't remind me. You went to a high end cocktail place.
$10 a cocktail, and the cocktails were small.
Don't. Okay, well, we can get into that in a different podcast. I agree with you, wholeheartedly, and even salt intake as well. Very, very high in our palate. the average palate in America. Yeah, so that sounds well. Either way, it sounds like you had a pretty good week and a half off of hungover gaming, or just in between the podcasts. That's awesome.
It's been pretty good. I also, in terms of binging things that aren't movies, I binged a whole bunch of Overwatch, and before I got my computer built, I was doing Fortnite on PS4, which is a really fun game. I actually really enjoyed the Battle Royale mode.
That's
I
awesome.
was really getting into that, and then I set up my PC, got that all set up, and then I was all into Overwatch, and I can finally play on a decent level because I can actually have pinpoint control.
Yes.
And I'm really enjoying playing DPS on like a tighter control scheme. So being better with McCree or widowing, because that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're all good on PC. They're not all good in console.
Though I find that there's some characters that are so overpowerful on console, like Mercy is super powerful on console just because she can fly around more, and Moira is uber powered. Like if you need to build up your rank for competitive on console, just Moira, because you get golden healing, golden damage, and you can get golden kills, and the algorithm will just be like, you're the best, here you go.
Is that how the algorithm works? Because
that's why impressive. I reached plat and you didn't, even though we were all in the same matches.
That's true. Fair enough. Okay. Well, that's cool. I guess I'll go into what I've been doing. I've been playing a shit ton of video games. I took a couple days off from work. Specifically, I like to do the Friday before of the weekend of Christmas, because I guess the past 2 years, Christmas has fallen on a weekend or Christmas Eve or whatever. So I take the Friday off before, so I get a nice 4-day weekend. It's pretty sweet. So I did that twice this because, New Year's is nice because it's a week after Christmas. So I got to play a shit ton of video games, which was awesome. I've been playing a lot of PUBG, Ivan. I finally sat down. I couldn't wait any longer. I've been waiting for you to get a PC forever so we could play this game. And I couldn't wait any longer. I also did not have any other games to play at the time, so I played PUBG, and oh my god, that game is fun.
That game is a lot of fun. I played a few rounds without you.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's fun to go in solo. I was consistently getting to top 20.
How many people did you kill in those rounds, or were
I
you mostly just hiding?
3 or 4. Well, no, max kills is 3. I was getting around 2 to 3 kills every game. I basically encounter maybe 4 people in total in the game, and the 4th person would kill me every time, obviously. But
I think I have yet to get a kill in that game.
It's difficult. Sometimes you run into a room and you just get a kill because they're in their inventory. And then generally what the really great thing about that game is the surround audio. So you got to you have a pretty decent headset. Just bump it up because it really picks up everything. So you hear everything and every footstep. So then all you have to do is just position yourself, and people get impatient. So they just run into your room and then you just kill them. It's so dumb. That was generally my strategy, sort of stick around the perimeter of the circle and until it starts closing down, and then move at that point. Although that seems kind of like a bad strategy in hindsight, because people would be looking for people to be running into the circle once it starts closing. I don't know.
People are looking for you either way. Having played a lot of Fortnite, which is essentially the same kind of battle royale system. Both the strategy that worked best for me, where I have gotten the furthest, was when I just happened to be in the middle of the circle from the start of the game, and I didn't really encounter people until they started coming in.
Yeah, just luck.
But I think both of the strategies are valid.
It's true. So I played. It's definitely true. I think there is an element of luck in these games, but that's sort of the fun part. in general. We better get that chicken dinner on once you come back. I also played a lot of Overwatch and a lot of Destiny 2. Standard things for me keep coming back. These games are just really fun. I got to play. We played a raid and we got to the last boss, and then everyone started sucking for some reason. I mean, you guys were doing just fine until the fucking last boss, and now you can't do anything. God damn it!
We started going into the raid.
Oh yeah,
I tried my first raid with you before I left, and we couldn't get past the first.
It was the gauntlet.
Obstacle.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's tough.
It's it's really tough.
Dealing with
really
other people.
tough is dealing with how many, 6 of us there?
Yeah.
It's tough dealing with the one person who doesn't understand how anything works.
I know. Don't remind me. I've been through too many raids to... it's so annoying at this point. But, I mean, I'm totally happy to just take your time and learn it, right? I don't mind. That's cool. We should all learn this thing. It's a community thing. Community building. But it's just, like, speak up if you have no fucking clue what's going on. And then when people... I don't know. Whatever. It's fine.
My favorite is when you have to handle more than one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
God forbid I have to multitask. Okay. I mean, that, whatever. So I played a bunch of Destiny 2, and then I got I played some Dark Souls 3 as well. I got up to the next boss. Pretty fun stuff. And then I barely got F-Zero GX running on an emulator on my PC. Don't arrest me, Nintendo. I swear to God, I own the game. And you won't fucking release the game anywhere else, so I have to steal it from you, you jackasses.
Allegedly.
Allegedly steal it from you, of course. And it barely works on this emulator anyways, so it's not like I played it for that long. But it was a lot of fun. I fucking love that game so much. Oh, my God. But yeah, that's about it for me in terms of gaming. I also had a lot of eggnog, and I had a White Russian with soy milk last night because my girlfriend is lactose intolerant, and I wanted to make us drinks. But we only had vodka and milk, so I had and Kahlua for some, like, of the things that I could either have just straight whiskey or a White Russian. These are my two options. So I just took the White Russian route.
Well,
not
dude,
that bad
that
with
was a
soy
good
milk.
drink, man.
What?
Well, dude, that's a good drink, man.
Yeah, dude, man. Bro, that's such a... I don't know why people like that movie that much. They like it too much. I like the movie. I don't like it that much, all right?
I do like it too much.
It's too much.
I also had a White Russian, but it wasn't a White Russian. It was a salted caramel Kahlua.
Ooh, that sounds good.
And I used milk, not cream.
Yeah, no, I used soy milk. Actually wasn't. Look, it's not as bad as you think it would be, but it's not as good as you want it to be. That's the White Russian with soy milk. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, that's about me, and I guess we should move on to the topic of the show, Yvonne, which is the year in review of 2017 gaming, and what do we think is going on with 2018? Where will gaming take us? We started this year off in January with no Nintendo Switch. We came in, people were saying console gaming's dying. I guess they sort of said that when the PS4 and Xbox One were coming out. And you know, I'd say that things have turned around, but and I think we sort of came into this console generation with getting sort of fatigued about all these sequels coming out, and every game is just the same game. I think you voiced your opinion on that when we had a discussion about our games getting stale, and then I think this year sort of had a very high beginning, and then it sort of ended low and then went back up. In the middle, we started getting bogged down by all this controversy with loot boxes and such, and then we sort of ended it in a way that I think I'm very satisfied with the year in gaming. It was a whirlwind As you can tell by what I just said, like literally none of what I just said made any sense. But what
I ended
first
pretty
impressions?
happy.
Yeah, first impressions
On
about it.
a personal note, I was happy, but it had more to do with having enough money and time and energy to build a PC.
Mm-hmm.
And PC gaming is really fun.
Yeah, it's
Man,
it's a hell
I
of a
got
time.
Destiny 2 for free. I got Assassin's Creed for free. So thank you for those
Oh,
Black
cool.
Cyber Monday deals.
You got Assassin's Creed. That's awesome.
Yeah, so we can make a video on that. By
Finally.
the way. No, so full year in review. So we had my favorite games of the year: Resident Evil 7, Horizon Zero Dawn, of course. Destiny 2 was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed watching Cuphead.
Yeah.
Overwatch continued to be one of the best games of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think overall there were a lot of really strong titles. And if we look at it, it seems like what was important was the PC and the console and those games. But if we look at the overall market, and we're talking about the same games being released all the time, mobile games exploded this year.
Yeah. It's as if people keep getting phones and keep wanting something repetitive to do.
It's incredible, and Nintendo is ahead of the curve, I think, on this style of gaming.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Nintendo had such a great year with the Switch, is because they recognized commute necessity for gaming.
Well, right, they're a
switching to
Japanese
mobile
company.
gaming platform. Yeah, it was great to see that kind of development, what those game systems could be, because as much as you love the PS Vita and you're over there on PS Vita Island,
I'm on the Vita Island.
I think, you could sell condos right on the shore for pennies on the dollar. It's ridiculous.
Vita Island. Right.
But
so
yeah. But I enjoyed this year in gaming probably more than most. I think my favorite year was when Diablo 3 came out, of recent memory, because that game I put in just a ton of hours into.
That game was fun, for sure. Well, the year it came out on consoles.
Yeah, consoles.
It came out like when we were in high school, I think. The actual game, yeah.
When it came to consoles, I was happy. The other thing being last year was Overwatch, which is game changer.
Right.
Yeah.
So sorry.
No, I was asking you.
I think this year was absolutely amazing. I think this was one of the greatest years, not only because I'm a diehard Nintendo fanboy, but I think this was one of the greatest years in gaming in probably a good decade. I can't think of a year that saw so many AAA games that came out that were spectacular, pretty much in my book 10 out of 10, and coupled with a bunch of great indie games that came out as well, and including one indie game that was basically a AA game, right? Senua's Sacrifice was supposed to be an amazing game. Right. So I think this year really started out so amazingly. And in fact, it was overwhelming. The entire year was so overwhelming, based off of the first 3 months alone, right? The first 3 months alone, we had Resident Evil, Horizon Zero Dawn, The Legend of Zelda. Those games alone it's just so much to play. I did beat all those games, to be fair, but it took the entire year to do it. So I mean, it seems to me that the industry has fully embraced the sort of quiet period of the year, which was traditionally January through March through April-ish. That's generally when games did not come out. But now in 2017, it's anyone's game, to make a stupid pun. The big games come out in the fall, right? The holiday season. But no longer are we seeing that anymore because we're seeing a bunch of Sony's throwing out all their first party titles and exclusives, not necessarily first party exclusives, but they're all coming out in March, and they don't really care about releasing any first party games in the fall at all. In fact, they're just letting the third parties shine at that point, like Call of Duty, which is the best-selling game of the year again. Did you know that?
I'm so disappointed.
It's supposed to be a great game.
Yeah, but it's still a Call of Duty.
Yeah, no, it's just so, I mean, amazing that some people that this game continues to sell. It's really a brand loyalist thing, which I don't necessarily disagree with. I mean, it's supposed to be a great game, and people sometimes they generally don't, like a lot of gamers don't really play any other games other than Call of Duty, which is crazy because there's so many great games coming out, as we've said a million times over this podcast. And
I think the last
Call
year
of Duty's still
in
there.
gaming that was as good as this year was the year that Call of Duty Ghosts came out. One of the long-lasting titles that was bad.
Right.
That was really bad. And I do think that I think Black Ops 2 was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But since then, there haven't been good Call of Duty games. And so this
right.
was a kind of a return to form in some, because it was an update. It's not just robots fighting against each other. There's a familiar ground, and there was an update to how things played and new game modes, and it wasn't the same thing over and over and over again. It was just slightly more Battlefield plus everything over and over and over again. So yeah, I think this is the best year since 2013 for games, actually, of recent memory. 2013 had Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto, Black Flag, Tomb Raider, The Last of Us, Battlefield 4, Saints Row 4, Papers, Please, Pokemon X and Y, Dota 2. I think this is 4 years. So that's a pretty good cycle to have a new, really dope year. Also, A Link Between Worlds.
Right. And I mean, it's really, it comes down to the sort of reaction you get when you talk about a game that came out in the beginning of the year, aside from Horizon, of course. That game's sort of in the know right now. But like when you think about the game Neo, you think, that game came out this year? What the fuck? And it really did. It came out in February. That was a fantastic game that came out. But I mean, there were just so many games that came out this year that were really great games, of course. Yeah, that were noteworthy. And so you can't even think of a Neo at this point, right? Even though it's such a great game. But I wanted to talk about Nintendo for a little bit. I think that they're really the
I think
topic.
They're the winners.
Yeah,
we're going to qualify them as such. Nintendo's wins the year in gaming.
They really started their comeback, back on top. Some would say they sold through 10 million Nintendo Switches. I think we sort of started this year thinking, we with like the Nintendo. We knew what was happening, what the Nintendo Switch was in January, when they had that conference, or that press conference, and they really they told us about it, and they had this trailer that had a bunch of. It was primarily focused on all the people in the trailer were adults, and they were all playing the Switch in various different situations, and I think a lot of people were thinking, oh, this is proof of concept. No one's ever going to play the game like this. And why would you even bring this to a party? What are you doing? No one's going to play it on the airplane. How long is the battery life going to last? Is it going to feel like a big question. A polished product when you hold it? Because we come off the Nintendo Wii U, which was not a very valuable console, and I mean, it had a lot of great games, but the console itself was crap, and that shows because Nintendo didn't even support it that much. Actually, Nintendo was the only people that supported it, and
but I
really
think most of it was done. The reasons that the Wii U didn't succeed are legion.
Yeah, right.
From poor naming to bad marketing to
Horrible
just
marketing. Is it
um,
a Nintendo Wii? I don't
not
know.
understanding that the tablet made it an entirely new console, not just a Wii periphery.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's just a whole bunch of things that went into the shift between the Wii and the Wii U, and I think the marketing and everything, the presentation for the Switch, everything went really as well as it could,
Mm-hmm.
and the release of such a dope version of Zelda was, I think, a real key driver.
Right. So I mean, they launched the console in March, and they sort of, and we slowly found out that we do want to do all the things in that video. We want to play it on the airplane. We want to bring it to parties and just pass around a Joy-Con and do all those things and switch from TV mode to playing it on the couch and just laying down and playing it. It's a really fantastic console, and it also sort of shows that you don't really need the fancy 4K graphics and all the teraflops and all these things, because it's really not it's not a powerful console by any means, if you compare it to, I mean, the PC that you just made it on.
Right.
It's not at all, but what it does is that it plays these games very well. It plays the games that are, well, not all the games. Let's be honest. WWE 2K17 or whatever came out, and it's not supposed to be that good. But the games that are on it that are good, which is a lot of them, because they're getting a lot of support and they're selling the console, are all running really well. And I think the real key to it is that it's so snappy, because the UI is very bare bones at the moment, and doesn't really, there's not really much you can do aside from maybe add a friend, and that's a little complicated. But just starting the game is just so snappy, and it works, and you can put the game to sleep whenever you want and just can pick it back up and keep playing. And I think they really capitalized on that accessibility of all of your games in your library at any time, anywhere, wherever you want. And I think that's why it's so successful. People really want to take their games on the go. It sort of capitalized on the promise of the PlayStation Vita. So I think that's awesome. Yeah, and even their launch titles were not that impressive aside from The Legend of Zelda. I think they didn't really. I think they launched with maybe 10 games maximum, and maybe like five. I think it was actually 5 games. I think Snipper Clips was in there, but yeah, I think The Legend of Zelda was enough. They basically fulfilled everything that you wanted from Nintendo. They released their big games, and they have a consistent release schedule that was literally not literally every month. I think they missed out on May. They did not release a large first party game or a large game to come out. But they did release they released a game every other month since. So May had Street Fighter 2. I think that was the big game. And of course I bought it. But yeah, they had Zelda, Mario Kart. Then they went to ARMS, Splatoon, Mario vs. Rabbids, and I think then they had Mario Odyssey. Then they had Skyrim and Doom, and then Xenoblade Chronicles. So that is a crazy amount of games to play in just your first year. And I really wanted to know, do you think now that we've seen what Nintendo intends to do with the Nintendo Switch and how they want to support it, do you think they can keep up the support? Do you think they can sell 10 million more units next year? Do you think this is Nintendo's actual comeback, or is this just a fluke?
I do. I think in terms of how sales are rolling, yes, I assume that they can match 10 million sales in the next year because they started sales in March.
Yeah.
So that's January, February, adding 2 more months two and some months to the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should be able to make up, and I think that the Nintendo Switch is an excellent console. which people have very happily touted through word of mouth. I think it's
Of
the
course.
reputation of the Switch is growing in a positive direction.
Right.
And I think that's what's important to maintaining Nintendo's success. Now, the other things are really pushing forward with new and exciting games that people will want to play. So yes, you have more people coming into the Nintendo Switch environment, and then they'll have some back catalog of games to play, right? So they'll
Yeah.
have to go through Zelda. They'll have to test out what, Snipper Clips is, or play Overcooked for the first time on Switch, go through
Right.
some things that are kind of unique, some interesting games that they've played before on different consoles, and just to see how it feels on the Switch, or some new Nintendo properties like the new Mario Odyssey game, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea that you have to keep putting out games to drive sales of the consoles is kind of important in terms of maintaining that long-lasting effect. So I don't know that it'll necessarily be important next year, but maybe in the third year, so in 2019, that will be a major driver of sales of Nintendo Switches, is putting out newer, more intense games. Because I still don't think that their market infiltration is as high as it can be just with that number of sales alone.
Right.
If you
No,
look at
I
how
yeah.
many households have PS4s or Xbox Ones and used to be multi-console, like they had the Wii
Right.
and the Xbox, or the Wii and the PS2 or PS3, and now we're moving into easier and easier access. The price drop might come a little bit within
Uh-huh.
the next year. So I think that sales will be driven by that within the next year of just opening up that space. Especially for parents getting things for kids and different things, maybe that will be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that this is a real big win for Nintendo, and Nintendo has found a resurgence. And I think that for the next couple years, Nintendo will be a powerful player. And then, as
Right.
always, Xbox and PS4 will find some way to push the genre, push console gaming in a way that Nintendo can't match with what they're doing, and they'll come on top. The only way that I see this not working that direction is Nintendo is able to share the market with mobile gaming in a way that no other console space can do. And
Mm-hmm.
therefore they have their own niche carved out, right? It's a more intense gaming experience for mobile gamers. It's one of the things that I know that you've touted forever on the Switch, and I was excited for with the Switch, is that really updated, increased technology for mobile gaming. So, yes, the iPhone is a super powerful gadget, but it doesn't play games nearly as well or as interesting as what can be released on a Nintendo Switch,
Right, it's
because they
just
don't
a
have the
touch screen.
properties and they don't have the control systems, etc. So, I think for those reasons, the Switch and Nintendo are really going up, and I think that they've only got more properties that they can touch to have interesting games to be released.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Nintendo's had a great year. I think I don't think they could have asked for a better year. I think this is the perfect this is just, I mean, the first year of the Nintendo Switch. I think that they still have to prove that they're playing in 2017 terms. They have an online infrastructure that that they care about their fans, so they're going to release Virtual Console, hopefully. But I think we can talk about that a little bit later. What do you think Sony and Microsoft, or maybe just one of them, how do you think their year sort of panned out, and
Well, I
what do
think
you
we
think?
can talk about who teraflopped this year.
Yeah. Right. So, we have a pretty good example of a console that was or two examples that were supported with really great exclusive titles in both Sony and Nintendo's consoles. And look at both of them. Look at their sales; they did very well. And everyone is talking about the Nintendo Switch, and everyone is talking
And
about the
everybody is playing the
PS4.
PS4 while they're talking
Yeah,
about the Nintendo Switch.
right, exactly. But then when they leave, they bring their Nintendo Switch because they can't bring the PS4. But no one, and we have yet to talk about Microsoft, right? So Microsoft released the Xbox One back in 2000 whatever, and they sort of had horrible messaging, and they've sort of been playing an advertisement, and they've sort of been playing catch up ever since. They sort of went into a race against the PS4 to sell more units, and they've fallen quite far behind. Not to say they aren't selling well, but I mean, this is sort of the tale that they're telling, right? So they released essentially a new console this year in November, the Xbox One X, which is the most powerful gaming console in the world right now. And that's amazing. But if you don't have games to back it up that people want to play on it, why are
Let's play
people even going
Cuphead
to
in
buy
4K.
it, right? Right. So that's, I think.
I mean,
Oh no,
what?
there was Halo Wars 2, I think, this year as well. They released 2 exclusive games this year. And
but
I
only
guess
one of them
PUBG.
matters at all, and that's
PUBG
Cuphead.
also matters.
I mean, PUBG, yes. So they were able to use their money to leverage into PUBG.
Right.
But I think what we see from Microsoft this year is leaning away from being a console exclusive driven way of conducting business and having to rely upon their PC market and their PC integration in order to be successful in the gaming arena.
Mm-hmm.
So you see a lot more gaming anywhere. This is an Xbox game and a PC game, and trying to integrate those two gaming platforms as a way to increase their market share and increase their sales of various games or things that they want.
Right.
So we haven't seen Xbox exclusives that mattered, that weren't important. So if we're looking at games that mattered during the year, so let's an easy example within the industry, right, is the Game Awards.
Mm-hmm.
What were the top games that were rewarded?
Zelda, Horizon, Mario. That's
Horizon
right?
didn't even get awarded, actually. But
oh, sorry, I thought you said no. I thought you meant nominated.
Nominated too, yeah. So Horizon got nominated. PSVR 2 games got nominated, but the main ones are Zelda Odyssey and Odyssey, and the main Xbox title in terms of an exclusive title was Cuphead.
Cuphead, yeah,
and that was the one that took away some stuff. But
it's a great game.
a lot of the Xbox exclusives or anything that was like a Microsoft driven title wasn't even nominated necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I mean, it's interesting to see how how Sony PS4, they are able to push the envelope in terms of how the console worked and gain market cap share, and because of that they probably drove some developers to come to them, etc. You're going to develop on the platform where you can get access to an audience. So part of it is that the PS4 grew and Xbox stayed behind, so developers push towards the PS4, while still also being on PC perhaps and different things. So it's interesting that Microsoft, which had such a domineering market cap in the 360 and PS3 era, lost so tremendously in this Xbox One PS4 era. And the Xbox One X, which was supposed to be this huge game changer, I think hasn't really made a huge splash. I haven't really heard people talk about it.
Right.
What I have heard is people going back to PC gaming, and that being a big push. But I haven't heard people go back to the Xbox One X.
Right. So what do you think? We've come to the point where this console generation has been around for 4 years or so. I think, 4 years, right? 2013 is when the PS4 came out. So generally, I mean,
Another
these
reason
things. I'm sorry.
2013 was a great year in gaming.
Right, exactly. So the PS4 is running on some outdated hardware, right, Yvonne? These things can't really keep up with all these sick ass games coming out, you know? But do you think that we're going to see a a traditional I should say traditionally console generations last about 5 years, if you take the industry average. Of course, I think the PS3 and Xbox 360 went on for around 7 years, that generation. But I think that that's not necessarily. I don't think that's necessarily indicative of a pattern that we're going to start following. Do you think that we're going to, in my opinion, I don't think so. Do you think we're going to see iterative consoles, so the PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One X type style of console? Do you think that's going to be the next generation of consoles in quotations, or do you think we're going to see a PS5 and just have a complete reset of your game library again, like we did with PS3 and Xbox 360?
We'll have to have a PS5 within the next few years.
Right. Do you think?
In
I mean,
2018, will it
okay.
happen? I don't
think
so, and I
2018.
don't
No.
think the life cycles have shortened that much. I think the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X have extended this line, if you would, of the consoles. I think we had that with to a smaller extent, right? With the PS3 had the PS3 Slim, the Xbox 360 Elite, right? They had the different SKUs of those consoles, a little bit more powerful, ran quieter, energy efficient, things like that. These are much bigger upgrades, I think, to the console. But I think there has to be a little bit of a catch up in terms of who are we developing for. I think we need a greater market penetration of 4K TVs, monitors, things like that. I think the reason that there could be such a push, the hardware graphics to go from the Xbox, I think the reason that the Xbox 360 and the PS3 lasted so long was that there wasn't a lot of increase in what people were watching or playing on. We're seeing some of that jump a little bit. So we had a long line of people playing on 720 or 1080 X frames a second. Right now we're up to 60 frames a second. That's really important. 60 FPS gaming, some 4K ability, things like that. So we've seen the consoles be updated to this point. But I think for a PS5 or an Xbox, whatever, 1Z, Xbox 2 or whatever, I think that we need a greater push to be into 4K. The only reason that we have HD as a standard is it was like a law that passed through Congress that everything had to be updated to HD, and therefore we have consoles catching up to that, and then consoles pushing it a little bit to what the technology is. But I think there isn't a push for people to go from HD to 4K. People aren't buying that upgrade. There's a small subsection of like hardcore gamers or people who are really into watching movies at a high quality rate. But I don't think that there's the same transition of people who are going from standard or 720 to 1080 and things like that as are going to 4K. So I think the market of what we're playing on has to catch up before there should be a big push to make that powerful of a console the standard.
Right, I definitely agree with you. I think that we're starting to see a transition to 4K, but I don't think it's nearly as quick as HD was. I think we'll probably start seeing really cheap, and I say really cheap, I mean, if you're going to buy, basically the price that our HD TVs are currently. I think we're going to start seeing 4K monitors and TVs showing up at that price range maybe in 2019. I
And I
think
think it
as
has to be
early
TVs. I think it's not. It can't be monitors.
monitors.
I think it has to be TVs that are like
Right.
that.
Of course, yeah, the TVs won't necessarily have the quick refresh rate that we have on our monitors for our gaming, 144 hertz, but they'll that's really the majority of people who are buying displays. They're buying TVs, of course, and I think that consoles are perfect. That's like bread and butter for consoles, right? They love to be played on TVs, so I think that's where the majority of people combine a TV with a console rather than a high gaming monitor, a high
Right.
quality gaming monitor. You're right.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah. So that's I think that I don't I mean obviously we're not industry experts, but I don't think that we're gonna be seeing PS5 and Xbox 2 and Nintendo Switch 2 any time within 2018 by any means. I don't think we're gonna even have rumors about I mean, we usually hear rumors about the next console cycle, right? A year or two before. I don't even think we're going to hear anything about them. I think that maybe we'll hear a rumor maybe in 2019, so next year, if we're getting super hype about that. But I don't think it's too much to worry about. I think if you bought a PS4 and an Xbox One, not only do you have a pretty good back catalog or a Nintendo Switch by any means, and not only do you have a good back catalog to play, but there will be plenty of games that are coming out that your console will play in the coming years. And of course, PC plays anything if it's powerful enough. But well, except for the exclusive games, of course. That's why we buy consoles. That's why I buy consoles now. Ish. Well, in general, because of the exclusive titles. So that I don't know why I bought an Xbox One. I think it was for Halo. I literally bought it for Halo because I thought I loved Halo that much,
And
I
to
don't
play
it anymore.
with our friend.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Of course. So I think. What do you want to touch on VR before we end? What do you think we're gonna see from VR?
Well,
VR
I think
video
some games that we'd
development.
like to see in 2018.
Oh, you want to talk about that?
Either specific games or kind of styles of games that I'd like to see come to be. I think
Right.
could be interesting. With VR, I think that VR is kind of dead.
Yeah, it
I
might. Who knows?
think
I don't know.
it's
Actually, hold
too
on. I heard that.
expensive.
I heard that Dream. I know Dreams. I don't know if you heard anything about Dreams,
No,
the
I don't
game.
know what this is.
I hear this is like the game that is perfect for game developers or people who are looking into getting into developing games. I think if I'm not going to do its justice, I'll try to explain it to you. Basically, it's going to have a single player mode where they have this single player campaign that was entirely designed based off of using the game creating controls in the game. And then basically you can literally make anything. There's a music editor in the game, so you can write your own music in the game. You can hook up a mic so you can sing or record your playing an instrument as well and put that in the game. I thought the coolest thing was the keyframe. There's keyframing for almost anything, I think, in the game, and I'm just rambling off the things that I can remember from the podcast I heard. But basically, like you can, like let's say you wanted to move a platform in the game. You basically say record this movement, and then you move it with the move thing, the move wand or whatever it is.
Right.
And that'll look generally janky, right? Because your hand's wobbling the whole time. But you can open up a keyframing thing, and you can move it frame by frame in the exact movement that you want it to move in. So I think that this game is really obtuse and very daunting for anyone to just jump into with the game making controls, but I think they're gonna have a um, pretty decent tutorial on how to use it. So I think that hopefully we can. Well, I think I might get this game. I was almost convinced that I might get this game. Is essentially I've gone through thinking this game's never gonna come out. It's probably trash, and that's why it's never gonna come out. To I'm probably gonna get this game just to see what the crazy shit that people make. Like they're gonna recreate an entire game inside a game and all the cool stuff. And I think it also does really cool stuff with sharing. So it's basically you can share your level with anyone, and I think you can. It's going to be really good for YouTube and Twitch and all the things that are becoming very popular around gaming. Of course, it's not cool enough to just game anymore. You got to make videos and things like that. So I think this is a really good platform for it. And I think it's going to be I hope it's going to be a pretty popular game, exclusive to PS4. I suggest that you look it up because I did not explain it very well. And that's really the problem with this game. It's very difficult to explain. But yeah, sorry, I got lost on that. We were talking about something, and I don't know if we know what we're talking about anymore.
Briefly
Sorry.
about VR, and I
Yeah,
was
that's
saying
why.
that VR sounds kind of dead at the moment because I just think it's a little bit too expensive.
Yeah. Well, I
I
did see the PS VR $200 with the Move controller and the camera as well.
and I saw the Vive on sale for
It's like
five or
$5
$600,
yeah.
and it comes with a $50 gift card. So it's
I
really
was considering that. It looks so cool. But am I going to spend $600 to play it once and never play it again? I think that's the situation. I think it's just too much of a hassle to get set up. You have to commit so much time to it in a media consumption environment where people just want to be gratified instantly and just not have to put any effort into it. And I don't necessarily blame them. I mean, this is your time off of work. This is your free time. Do you really want to, put any effort into what you're doing?
it's
Yeah.
definitely the I own a house console.
Right. I have an entire room for this console. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an enthusiast thing. And I'm glad the technology exists, and I'm also glad the video games seem to be the proving ground for it. I just think that it needs to be more like the mobile approach to it. I think for it to become more mainstream, it seems fairly simple to just plug your cell phone into one of those goggle headsets and then use it that way.
Yeah.
And I think that might be the future of VR as opposed to the HTC Vive, the the Morpheus, what's it called? The PSVR and the Oculus Rift, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, we'll
Yeah.
see. I don't know how that technology could be transformed in a different way because I think it'll still be more powerful than the phone in general. So I think if you can shrink it down, create it into a smaller device that is easier to hop on, hop off,
Right.
that might be interesting. But the other thing is that when I'm traveling, I don't really want my vision and everything like gone. It's like I'll be in the game and I'll be like, man, this is so realistic. I feel like I'm getting beaten up and all my things are getting stolen from me.
It is well, I don't know. I've never used it. Yeah, is this real? I don't know.
So I think for travel and mobile stuff, I think it could have some application like that augmented VR. The one that Microsoft
The
was
HoloLens.
developing sounded interesting at least. Sorry.
Yeah.
But
I
I
think
think
the
the
HoloLens looks
technology
cool.
just needs to evolve a little bit in a different way. I think people got really excited really quickly, and a lot of people were like, "Oh my god, I can't wait for the price to drop," and then the price never dropped. And so I think a
Well,
lot of
now
this,
the price has dropped.
but a lot of the steam for it was gone. A lot of the
Yeah.
wind was taken out of sales. So I think it needs a little bit more time. So maybe this year will be it, but I think more likely than not it's going down. So I'll need something big to happen for me to believe in it again. So, like Nintendo,
Or maybe you
was
have to
really
use it
going
first.
down. That's also true. So you buy it, and then I'll come play it.
Yeah, totally. I'm gonna buy it. No, we need to go to an event that just has it.
Right.
One of them set up, and we need to just use it. I think that'll sell me on it, or not sell me on it.
I think they have them at the Microsoft store here. We could try them out.
Oh, that's cool. We should check that out.
Anyway, and then so things that I would like to see, things that I would like to play in the coming year. I want more variation on FPS. So why did we love Overwatch? Because it was a variation on FPS that was team-based, cooperative. You had a lot of ranging and skills and a lot of people that did things a lot differently. That's why I liked it. I like going back to a shooter in which, I'm just using a gun to kill people and run around and everybody has a set number of 2 skills maybe, or like a grenade and something else.
Right.
That's fine. I much prefer the wide variety that Overwatch has for the majority of the time because it's a just more intriguing and engaging experience, and that's why I've spent so long playing it and will continue to dip back into it. So I'd like a little bit more innovation in my gaming. I want Battlefront 2 to apologize to everyone and give itself away for free on every single console.
We'll see.
Or everything. So I want it to come around.
We should
PS
get it
Plus
at the end of its lifespan.
and Xbox and yeah, because that's what I want EA to do for that. And I want to see a greater amount of Civilization games.
Hey, Civ 6 just released an expansion pack, so
Yes.
it's gonna be sick. I'm very Monster Hunter Worlds, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, and Ni no Kuni 2. I can't wait for those games. And I am actually most excited to see what Nintendo's gonna do this year, 2018. That is, I actually can't wait. I was so excited for the Switch, and this year has been amazing for Nintendo. And I think they have like the rest of their lives ahead of them. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait, and I fucking believe it. I have that reservation that they're going to screw it up somehow, but we'll see. I hope they don't.
They still have time to screw it up.
Oh, trust me,
don't
they
worry.
will. Oh man. Oh, Nintendo.
They will, and when their backs are against the wall, they'll launch the greatest thing since sliced bread again.
Yeah, so I know.
That's where we want Nintendo. We want Nintendo in a corner.
That's clearly where they've put themselves. So,
because that's where we came out, and that's when Switch came out, when they had no other option but to be successful.
To then just do what people wanted, sort of. Not really with the Wii, but anyways, we've sort of rambled on a lot. I hope it was cohesive and. But not really. I'm sure it wasn't. To you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Tell us in the comment section below what video games you're looking forward to in 2018, what your opinions are about what we said and about the games that came out this year. What was your favorite game this year? And don't be afraid to shoot us an email or tweet at us, and all that information's in the description below as well. We always love to interact with our community as little as we do, because no interaction from you guys, which is basically what I'm moving into. We end our podcast every single week in a song in a segment called Hungover Radio. This is where you, the viewer or listener, can send in your music. An MP3 file is preferable to gaminghungover@gmail.com, and we will totally play that song at my computer. No, I didn't. Shit. I think, we're fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, you can send it in. You can send it in to the things. Just send it in. I don't know what's going on. Oh, God, my computer's dying. Yeah, but I have a song for you guys. Akira and 5 Arcade Edition.
First podcast of the new year.
But anyways, I hope the end of them, and I hope it, because I fucked everything up. All right, guys. Catch you guys next week. Peace out.
Description below. Okay, we'll talk.